Jim Jones didn't just find out he was cheated on. He got humiliated in a courtroom on camera with everyone watching. At first, he looked calm, sitting confidently in his seat. But then, everything changed. Cameron stood up, handed a USB drive to the clerk, and the screen in the courtroom lit up. What played on the screen shocked everyone. There was Chrissy wearing heels and a hoodie, walking into a hotel with another man. She was smiling, laughing, and whispering things that made the entire room uncomfortable. She said, "Let him stay." Clueless, clearly talking about Jim. Jim didn't say a word. He didn't move or react. It was like he was watching his entire world fall apart in front of him. The courtroom fell silent. Mama Jones sat stiff, frozen in her seat. Cameron leaned back in his chair with a satisfied look on his face, like he had waited a long time for this moment. This wasn't just some random clip, it felt planned. People started to wonder if the whole relationship had been fake from the start. What began with a simple USB ended with Jim collapsing in his chair, shaking, completely devastated. The video was crystal clear, no blurry shots or poor audio. It had a timestamp and seemed like it had been filmed on purpose. At exactly 9:13 p.m., Chrissy pulled her hoodie up outside the Marin Hotel in Soho, looking around like she didn't want to be seen. The man who opened the hotel door wasn't Jim, it was Reggie. For months, fans had heard whispers and rumors about Reggie and Chrissy, but this video confirmed everything. Chrissy had always said Reggie was just a friend, but this video showed something very different. When Cameron handed the USB to the court clerk, the atmosphere in the courtroom changed immediately. Jim straightened up, almost like he had expected something, but watching it unfold still hit him hard. The most painful part came when Chrissy was seen turning back and whispering on the phone, "Jim still thinks I'm at my cousin's. He's so dumb." That line was like a punch to the gut. The tension in the room snapped. Cameron leaned back, looking completely pleased. Jim's face went pale, and it looked like all the air had been knocked out of him. He collapsed, grabbing his chest, struggling to breathe. The courtroom broke into chaos. Security rushed over. EMTs came running in. Chrissy just stood there, not moving, like she had seen this happen before. Cameron didn't even flinch. And that was just the first 37 seconds of the video. What came next was even more heartbreaking. Inside the hotel room, there were 2 wine glasses, soft music playing, and Chrissy laughing. She told Reggie, "This is where I can breathe. With you, I don't feel like I'm living someone else's life." That line hit hard because just a year ago, Jim had said on podcasts that Chrissy was his everything. He even called her his oxygen. Now she was saying she felt suffocated with him. Sources close to the situation believe Chrissy knew she was being recorded. The hotel suite belonged to a friend of Reggie's who was known for recording everything. But Chrissy never expected the footage to end up with Cameron. Some say Cameron had someone on the inside. Others think Reggie handed it over after Chrissy ghosted him. Either way, Cameron had evidence. Clear, undeniable, and brutal. Cameron submitted the USB as part of a defamation countersuit accusing Jim of spreading lies about him during a VH1 meeting in 2022. But let's be real, this wasn't about a lawsuit. It was personal. Cameron didn't just go after Chrissy. He made sure Jim's mom was there to witness the betrayal. When Jim collapsed, Mama Jones jumped up screaming. Security had to hold her back as she shouted at Chrissy, "You lied to my son!" Outside the courthouse, she was seen pacing the sidewalk, yelling into her phone, "I told Jim she was going to ruin him!" Back inside, the judge stopped the trial for an hour so the medical team could check on Jim. Luckily, it wasn't a heart attack, but it was serious trauma. Online, the story spread like wildfire. Memes popped up everywhere. One showed Jim lying in a hotel bed with the caption, "Folded like hotel sheets." Another showed Cameron smiling while holding the USB like a trophy, but this was more than just a cheating scandal. The video suggested something darker. In one clip, Chrissy whispered, "Reggie helped me clean that mess up. I told them it was a donation." That line caught the DA's attention. Chrissy was already being looked into for charity fraud. Now it looked like she might have been trying to cover something up. Cameron still wasn't done. When the judge called another break, Cameron stood, looked directly at Jim and said, "I told you she wasn't loyal. Now you finally see it." Jim didn't respond. He didn't move. Chrissy leaned over to her lawyer and whispered something. A professional lip reader later revealed she said, "Say I was drunk. That video's out of context." But that wasn't going to work. The footage was too clear, too perfect, and even had different angles. Then the court returned from break. Cameron's lawyer stood up and calmly announced, "We have more footage and an audio file." The courtroom went completely silent. Chrissy turned pale. Jim didn't move an inch. Mama Jones had to be physically held back from charging forward, again. The judge asked about the new evidence. Cameron's lawyer explained that it was a voicemail Chrissy had left for Mona Scott just 3 weeks before the hotel incident. When they played it, Chrissy's voice was heard saying, "Mona, if Jim finds out, the season is ruined. Cameron can't know either. I need you to take care of that hotel footage. Reggie said it was deleted. You promised me." That voicemail changed everything. This wasn't just infidelity. It was proof that Chrissy had tried to cover it up. Her lawyer jumped up, trying to block the evidence, but it was too late. Cameron wasn't smiling anymore. He looked focused, determined. Everyone in the room could feel the shift. Even the court officers looked stunned. Jim finally lifted his head. His face looked hollow. He stared at Chrissy like she was a stranger, like he didn't know the woman he had loved and defended all those years. Then the second video began to play. This time it was from a production trailer on the set of Love and Hip Hop New York. It had been secretly recorded by someone on the crew months earlier. In the video, Chrissy was talking with Yandy between scenes. She didn't know a nearby camera was still rolling. She leaned in and whispered, "I'm only here because I promised Mona one more season. After this, I'm done pretending." Yandy asked, "Pretending what?" Chrissy answered, "That Jim and I are still a thing. We've been done. I just haven't said it out loud." Fans immediately started turning on Chrissy. Her name began trending along with hashtags like Setup Queen and Judas Chrissy. Outside the courtroom, Mama Jones finally pushed past security. TMZ cameras caught her yelling, "That woman destroyed my son's life! She's a snake! And VH1 helped her!" The clip went viral. One TikTok showed Mama Jones' meltdown alongside. Footage of the hotel entrance captioned, "When your mom was right all along." Inside, things kept escalating. After another audio clip played, Cameron's lawyer held up printed emails and screenshots. He handed them to the judge, saying they showed Chrissy asking someone to delete footage from a private server linked to Mona Scott's cloud. The courtroom went dead silent as the judge read one message aloud. "I need that room wiped by Monday. If it gets out, Jim won't recover. Neither will the show. Tell Reggie to keep quiet." This wasn't just about betrayal. It looked like manipulation, cover-ups, and lies. Jim stood up, trembling, and asked Chrissy a single question. "Was any of it real?" She didn't say a word. She just stared at the floor. That silence said everything. Then VH1's legal team jumped in. A nervous man in a gray suit claimed the footage might have broken confidentiality agreements and should never have been shared. But the judge didn't care about saving a TV deal. He asked Chrissy directly if she'd tried to influence the trial, using the media. Her lawyer objected, but the judge pressed on. Chrissy's voice cracked. "I didn't mean for it to go this far," she said. "I was scared." Scared of what? Losing Jim? Being caught? Or the whole plan falling apart? It was too late. Cameron's team revealed one final piece of evidence: text messages from Reggie's burner phone. One message read, "She played me too. Said she'd leave him. Now I'm the villain and Cameron got the drop. I should have released the rest. She begged me not to. That meant more footage existed." By the end of the day, Jim walked out alone. No Chrissy, no protection. Just a broken man trying to hold himself together. Outside, a reporter asked Cameron, "Do you think Jim deserved this?" Cameron looked directly into the camera and replied, "No, but the truth doesn't care who it hurts." The next day, the footage went viral, set to sad music, turned into memes. Jim's heartbroken face became the image of betrayal. Fans started connecting dots from years ago, old tweets, old scenes, things they'd missed. One clip of Mama Jones saying, "You love the camera, not my son," resurfaced and blew up online. Meanwhile, Cameron's legal team filed an emergency motion. Turns out Reggie had worked in post-production and had access to private footage. That started a fraud investigation into possible tampering by producers. Sponsors dropped out. The show got canceled. Mona unfollowed Chrissy. Jim's lawyer filed a $2.3 million lawsuit for emotional and financial damages. Chrissy's old ex even came forward, saying she used Jim for fame. Cameron released a teaser. You saw the courtroom. Now see the full truth. It hit 5 million views in a few hours. Mama Jones went live, furious. Chrissy stayed silent, but Olivia Longot handed over even more proof. VH1 tried to block it, but it was too late. Cameron now owned the story. Jim disappeared for mental health treatment. The drama was far from over. Subscribe for more updates on this explosive story.